Hello everybody, this is Dr. August de Oliveira, and I wanted to talk to you today about a pretty cool program called Archform. Archform can be found online at archform.co. It's not archform.com, it's archform.co. Archform is a software that allows you to do aligners in-house. It gives you control of the teeth, so someone else is not generating a clean check or a setup for you. You're doing it yourself. The benefit of it, it's $50. The downfall is you need some experience with ortho to do this. There is not an orthodontist planning your case like Invisalign, Exceed Ortho, or iRock DDS. So use it with caution. Personally, I can see this in my practice in Class 1 crowded cases where we're only moving the front 8 teeth, so the front 4 on the top and the front 4 on the bottom. But let's go ahead and discuss the case and go through some of the steps here. So I'm just going to pull up Mesh Mixer. This was a CRX scan of a really nice patient. She has generally really nice teeth. She's Class 1 canine, Class 1 molar. She just has some issues in the anterior. So if we look in the front, we've got her number 24 and 25 have been pushed forward, then in turn are pushing 8 and 9 out. Her chief complaint is that when she smiles, her 2 front teeth stick out a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and play with the software and figure out how we're going to treat this case. So we'll go ahead and set up a new patient. And her name is Meg. And so let's call that Meg New. We're going to enter in our STL files. So I've saved these under Meg Ortho. So we've got our upper, got our lower, and we hit create. One of the first steps we're going to be playing with is orienting our models. I don't know why, but when it's taken out of a CRX scan, the models are in occlusion. However, they're sitting kind of straight up and down. So we can click on these little tools and kind of orient them so things are looking a little bit better. There is a little arch form on here if you want to move your model around within the arch. You got to make sure, though, you select both of them at the same time if you're going to rotate. In order to do that, you hit the Shift key, and you can now select both, and now we can move them and rotate them and put them on this plane a little bit better. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK. Cool thing about the software, it automatically puts a base on your model, which I think is a really nice feature. All we're going to do now is mark which teeth are to be included. I think you can see that we've got a little problem with tooth number 2 or 14 there, or 15 there. So I'm not going to include that one in my scan, but we'll go ahead and include everything else. So I'll click on this tooth. You just click on the teeth that you're interested in including in the aligner. If we don't like a tooth, we can unclick it. So I said I didn't want that one. Go ahead and click the lingual of those anterior teeth. Now, it's going to go ahead and separate it. Now, if you have a very fast computer, you can go ahead and do it on your computer. My computer is kind of fast, but not that fast, so we can take advantage of their big supercomputers, and we can click on Separate Cloud. This is going to take about 5 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and pause this while... Okay, so you can see the computer did a pretty good job of isolating a number of the teeth, except for maybe 2. So we're going to go ahead and correct that. So we just click on the upper, and I'm going to come over to here and click on a tooth. And now I can work on pulling down these lines, and sometimes there's a lot to pull down. And then I can go into Smooth and smooth these lines and go back to Sculpt. and move those around. We can now look at the lingual, and it did a nice job over there. This one's looking a little wacky, so I'm going to click Done and double click over here. And looks like I got a lot of work to do. So let's go ahead and move these out. Move this guy all the way in. I wish you could redraw these lines like Sirek, but apparently you can't. So I'm just going to keep pulling these guys down and then later smooth them out. Looks like I got a lot of work to do. Let me go ahead and pause this. Okay, back to work here. So this is now looking a little bit better. You can see that this is extended down here, so we can pull that stuff down. Pull it back on the actual tooth itself. And we can use the smooth function again and smooth that down and sculpt it. Okay, so now we're done isolating the teeth. Let's check the lower. Looks pretty good except for here on the molar. So I'm going to move that and work on grabbing and then we'll just smooth out these borders. And this tooth is isolated. So once we're happy with the way things work, we're going to hit Accept Curves. And let's go ahead and hit pause. Okay, we're back and we have the teeth all isolated. Now it's time to move. We can turn on our IPR and our Show Collisions so that we can see when teeth move how much IPR we're going to do. So it looks like our nemesis is going to be those lower anterior teeth. So I'm going to go ahead and start with those first. So let's get rid of the upper. And you can see where the teeth are contacting. I'm going to start with this tooth here, and we're just going to rotate that in line with the canine. We'll do the same thing on this tooth here. Looks like the rotation is actually pretty good, and the position of those teeth are pretty good as well. So let's try to emulate that with number 24 and 25. So we're going to move that tooth up a little and move this tooth up a little bit. We can now just click on another tooth so we can kind of analyze the arch form without the widget in there. It looks like this one still needs to come up a little bit and maybe move in a little bit. Now this patient here, she has some irregular wear on those front teeth, so we may have to do a little bit of enameloplasty, maybe a little extrusion to get that up and where we want it. I'm going to rotate this one a little bit as well. So you can see our IPR is actually pretty minimal in between these teeth. Maybe a little bit over here, but not too bad. And so now let's go ahead and turn on our upper and see where we are. So this one gives us a view of the upper and lower teeth together. And so you can see here that the occlusion is pretty minimal, especially around here, but we have it a lot in the anterior. So we may have to do some enameloplasty on those incisal edges. But let's go ahead and fix this one. So we're going to rotate it. This one looks pretty good on the other side. So now we're going to work on these two anterior teeth and try to pull that down and back. You can see the IPR adding up as we move these teeth back into the arch. I'm just going to click on another tooth so I can kind of look at this and see how things are looking. So we've gotten actually these down pretty good. Let's go ahead and rotate that and move that in just a hair. Let's see if we can do the same with this guy. Looking at the amount of IPR, we actually have a lot of IPR on either side of these teeth, so we may want to see if we could maybe not bring it in that much and see how it looks. That looks a little bit better. Our IPR is still 0.21, which is not outrageous. That is coming off of 2 teeth, so that's probably going to be okay. All right, so once we're happy, we can go ahead and export this case. I'm not going to export it because I've already done that. But let's go ahead and turn everything on. And we can turn off some of these numbers and just kind of take a look. One thing I didn't mention, which is a pretty cool function, is we have automatic attachments. So this is an attachment for mostly extrusion. This is a rotational attachment, and we have the attachments down here on these other teeth. If we want to change the attachments, we certainly can. Let's see, where do those attachments come from? Maybe we can, yeah. So on attachment, we can change the shape to triangular. We can change it to beveled. We can go ovaled, rectangular, and these all have different kind of type reasons for using them. Certainly something that could be discussed on a different video. Okay, so I'm not going to hit export. When you hit export, it generates the STL files and it charges you $50. So let me just go ahead and show you how we print these out. So I'm going to just pull up Preform and add So we can go Meg Ortho, and I'm going to select all of them. So it generate a total of 7 sets of aligners and 1 for attachments. So we'll hit open. We can select to be printed vertically, and it will come out of the software already straight up and down. So you can see that we have quite a few, we can to all of them. We can try to hit auto arrange and lay out all and see if it gives us any help. Nope, doesn't look like it. So let's be a little bit more reasonable and get rid of a few of these and hit layout all again and see what we get. Yeah, so it arranged quite a few models. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 vertical models on the form 2. You can see that it tells you the patient's name and the aligner number on the bottom of the model, which is a really cool function as well. We would just print these out and do a pressure form. So that's all. That's it. Again, this is a really cool program. I can definitely see myself using it for just minor tooth movement, so less than 10 trays, and using Exceed Ortho, Invisalign, or iRock DDS for the rest. So thanks for your attention.